Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the meeting of the Simsbury Planning Commission. I'd like to thank SCTV for filming, and the commission members. I guess I don't know if Mark is coming or not, so okay, and guess we need one more. Who else? Kevin's not here. Want to start with Kevin?
Sure.
Okay. All right, let's, item one on the agenda is the renewal of the capital improvement plan, and I'd like to go right ahead, gentlemen. I know you've got a meeting upstairs. Yes. You have to be two places at once, like Bob was.
Yeah.
And so, go right ahead. I'll present.
Would you like me to?
Everybody has the stuff that is brought in to distribute? Okay, yeah, thanks. Anybody else need anything? Need a package? No?
Okay, I'm Burke LeClaire, business manager with Simsbury Public Schools, and I'm looking to speak to you about the Board of Education projects for fiscal 14-15. And I believe you have a total list, and I think our projects are on the second page of that under the Board of Education heading. Starting with the first column. First project would be the district network infrastructure project for $150,000. Are we all seeing that on the summary?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So just to give a little bit of background on that, from a technology point of view, we've been working with a company, Walker Systems, to try to sort of map out the priority of what we need to do to maintain our network infrastructure. And this $150,000 is a priority project that would be identified for this summer to focus on storage for our servers, and actually provide secondary storage site within our district. So this is for all seven schools, and that is what we'd like to be moving forward with. The first and highest need. Any questions on that before we move forward?
Are the capital improvements approved for each fiscal year? I see a total of $800,000 estimated.
Right. So what we've had a history with these requests. We have tried to do them on sort of an every other year. We actually brought forward, split up what had previously been a $350,000 request and brought $150,000 forward. So we do show that total, but they're separate scopes of work for each year.
So currently you're asking for $150,000.
Correct.
And next year you'll ask presumably for $200,000.
Yes, and describe the detailed scope for that.
Thank you.
So the next project, Henry James, we've got it broken out differently this year, which also requires a little bit of background. You probably recall this project being on from previous years that we've been here, and we've moved. We had received an updated cost estimate with assistance of architects in the prior year. And then this fall, when the Board of Ed looked at things, it said, given our overall 7% debt limit and working with the selectmen, we felt that we would recommend pushing the bulk of the project forward, which we're showing 2 years out. But what was brought forward was alternate A, the main office relocation, and that has always been a part of this concept of renovating Henry James. Because of the location of the main office, there is not the capability when you buzz somebody in, for example, when the building is locked during the day, you have no access control because someone enters the main entrance and they can go left, right, or straight without any eyes on them, the main office being so far towards the center. So this project, which was recommended by the security consultant that was hired last year, affirmed that was the best approach for doing that. So that's what the cost estimate portion of $775,000 would be, and it would be eligible for reimbursement from the state. So that portion is what we're moving forward and has been recommended by the Board of Finance and Board of.
So it potentially could be less than the $775,000 if the state.
We showed an estimated reimbursement percentage of 33%. So down at the bottom, below you see a grants and other funding. So you see that that's estimated for the Henry James at
I'm looking at the picture
257.
versus see, I got.
So then you essentially get your net cost to the taxpayers, but you have to authorize the total amount.
Nice.
So alternate B, which also related to the first floor maintenance and improvement of the hallway at Henry James. After discussion at the Board of Finance meeting last week, that's actually been tabled, and there's going to be further conversation about that with the Board of Education, and then I'll come back to the Board of Finance. So that is not something that's going forward yet. That's currently tabled. So the next project is called Simsbury High School Turf Field and Synthetic Track Maintenance, and that's $250,000. So it's hard to believe, but for those of you that recall the track and field project being built, I was not here at that time. My predecessor, Dave Holden, I know was actively part of that. It's coming up on 10 years, so the expected lifespan for these facilities is about 10 years before you need to do some sort of maintenance. So $150,000 of that $250,000, based on some consultants that we're working with, is to just resurface the track because it's cheapest now to be able to just put that top layer on. There's signs of wear, and the concern is if we didn't do it this summer, you'd get into a more expensive need to repair that sort of secondary layer. The balance of it is to really do a further work within the turf. There's really done a nice job there. Dropping that. Of decompaction, and there's a certain level of maintenance that we've been able to do on a fairly regular basis, but there's a higher level that's needed because there's a certain amount of testing for the softness. I'm not using the right technical term that we need to maintain for the safety of athletes. So that's something that would also be done. There'll be some areas where there may be some patching of the turf. And this is estimated to get us another 3 to 4 years before we'd actually have to replace the turf. So that's why we show in 2018 a $500,000 estimate to actually replace that turf. So this is usual and expected lifespan for fields of this nature. So working with Jeff, we have got a group called the BSC group out of Glastonbury that's helping to advise us on this, and we're anxiously awaiting the ability to move forward with these maintenance projects this summer season. That's what we're hoping to do.
Does that include any work on the grandstands?
Actually, that's a good question. It does not specifically include that. We have some repair work that needs to be done to the bleachers there, and I have a quote that we're actually ready to move forward on with some separate funding to get that maintained. Any other questions on? Yep, sure. And so lastly, for our current year request, the Squadron Line main office project, you also may recall, was on our capital improvement program for about as long as the Henry James project. The Board of Education, towards the end of the capital improvement process this year, decided that given that the focus of it was also to improve the access to how you enter the building, and so that currently the main office, well, it's near the front, the nurse's office is actually in the front, and the main office is sort of behind it. So to sort of flip that around and provide access control to the building, they felt that this had a similar justification based on safety and wanted to move this forward. It had been previously shown in the second year. That required us to get an updated cost estimate, which we did with the assistance of an architect, and we have a conceptual cost estimate for that project, which we're showing here, which is also partially reimbursable, and we're showing that estimated 33% at a $348,705 estimated grant offset. So that's a little bit about both of those projects. Because we would need to have the funding in place and then apply to the state for that funding, it really requires a full year of getting started and getting the architects on board, submitting the applications. So the soonest we could really start breaking ground, so to speak, for these renovations would be the following summer of spring, summer of 2015.
Questions?
You skipped the tennis court.
The tennis court is in the next year. It's in the 2015-16 year. We actually had put that on the schedule last year, and we actually moved that back and moved the turf forward based on the input from the consultant that we really needed to do something with that track, or it would be more costly. So those courts just can't be patched in any significant way, and really would need to be rebuilt.
So the total request is, as stated, less than $280,000, is that correct? Yeah.
Right, that's what's currently been recommended to move forward by the Board of Finance.
What's our procedure? Do we vote individually? Do we have a motion and approve or recommend? What's the nomenclature?
Yeah, I think that the wording that you have is actually wording that the Board of Selectmen approved at their meeting. So you need to take a look at that and make sure that those resolutions comport with. I don't think we have to read them verbatim into the record. Right, Jeff?
No, my understanding is it's basically the referral is approved by the planning commission for further action on all the projects.
I think that would be fine. This would specifically reference the resolutions that were part of your package that you, if in fact you find them acceptable, that you recommend those as part of your recommendation.
Do we want a motion to that effect?
Should we run through the town site projects first?
Yeah, I would do the others first. We'll do them all as a package at the end, sure. That's my recommendation.
We're gonna look at the other town ones first.
Oh, I thought he's, you want to go to your
Yeah,
meeting?
I'm
All right.
expected upstairs, so if it's
thought we
all right, I'll
individually.
adjourn. If there are further questions, you can certainly ask, and I'd be happy to come back down.
Just watch the TV and you'll find out the results.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Shea, I'm the town engineer replacing Rich Sawitsky. Bear with me, I've only been here 3 months and I'm still trying to get my feet under me, so most of these projects were initiated prior to me, obviously coming on board, so still not fully familiar with them, but hopefully I can answer any questions you have. So I'm going to go to page 1 of the summary sheet and run through the FY 2015 projects. Be glad to talk about the out-year projects after these, if you guys have any questions on those, but tonight I'm just going to focus on the first year. The Ethel Walker Open Space Project Parcel C is the first project. This project is for the acquisition of approximately 42 acres, which is the last parcel within the Ethel Walker complex, I guess, of parcels that were acquired by the town, of approximately 378 acres. The project is being partially funded by an open space grant of $500,000, of which is reflected in the source of funds column there under 5. So the actual cost, again, is offset. The total cost of $1,150,000 is offset by the $500,000 grant. That grant agreement is in place, and the closing is scheduled for calendar year 2014. So it should happen, if it's approved, in the next several months.
What would happen if that wasn't approved?
I'm not sure. It's a good question. The funds are, we probably.
We're up to hearing that already.
We are. We'd probably rescind the grant funding, I guess, and it would be, be available for others. But certainly, I don't believe that'll happen. I think there's a lot of momentum to get this done, if in fact it is approved, and it's quite an acquisition for the town. It's been a lot of great work by a lot of great people, and I think it's really going to be a very large asset to the town. And this parcel actually sits in the middle of the other parcel, so it's kind of a key parcel to make it a contiguous piece.
This is the last purchase in that whole deal, right?
It is.
In the map included, is it outlined separately, or is it just mixed in?
This map is a trail map, and it doesn't
Yeah,
really
right.
accurately depict it, but it's essentially, it's a swath from north to south through the middle of that green kind of space, between Town Forest Road and Route 167.
Okay, thank you.
The next project is the multi-use trail connections / master plan update project. This project is an aggregation of many trail connection projects and park master planning projects, including the Terriffill connection, which is the major piece between the existing Farmington Valley Greenway and the Bloomfield piece, which is kind of uncertain right now. We're looking at various options for locations for that trail. This project would fund both the design and the construction of that project in the out years. So the initial fiscal year 2015 allocation is really for preliminary design services for that project. The second project is the Farmington River Loop Trail, which is north, is known as the Baker property. It would connect the existing Farmington Valley Greenway to the area near the treatment plant, sort of continue a loop in that area, essentially improving a trail that already exists in a made path, I guess, more or less. The third piece is the Farmington Valley Trail, which would be improvements, surface improvements to the trail between West Mountain Road and Town Forest Road. That's the existing stone dust trail. There's a lot of root intrusion, and there's some areas that need to be top dressed and leveled because of wear and tear over the years. And the last piece, am I missing a piece here? Let me see. No, I think that's it on trails. In addition to those trails, we're looking at updating the existing master plan for the Terriffill Park that hasn't been looked at in quite some time. It'd just be a minimal kind of upgrade to the master plan to see what other opportunities or improvements that have occurred since that last master plan was done, so we could do some appropriate planning in the future. And also the same at the Simsbury Meadow site, where there's been some development over the course of the past several years, boundless playground, things like that, that really probably were not in the original plan. So we look to update that plan also. So the first year funds construction for the Loop Trail, the Farmington River Trail, and some design services for both the Terriffill connection and possibly the Loop Trail. There's also some bonding costs in there and possibly some legal costs to investigate easements required for the Terriffill connection. So we're asking,
When we see these planning and engineering fees and all the projects, are they in-house, or is that all just allocated a time in-house, or is that for outside consultants?
this is outside consulting services, and generally that's the case. We don't technically, we don't have the staff time and frankly, in some cases, the expertise to do the designs required on these projects. So there's some, again, $25,000, I believe, for the Terriffill connection for some preliminary design. And we're actually working with Bloomfield, with the same consultant, so that we have some continuity in the planning and the design for that project. So we're presently meeting with them in the next several weeks to talk about that. So generally, it's consulting services as opposed to in-house
Okay.
expenses. The next project is the Simsbury Farms Golf Course Improvement Project. This is a multi-year project that addresses several projects required or improvements required on that facility. In the early years, including 2015, the funds of $125,000 includes design services for the golf course architect, which are minimal, and improvements to number 1 and 10 fairways, the driving range, number 2, 5, and 14 greens. And that particular work will be spread over the first 3 years of the proposed project. And a lot of that work will be done with in-house people. We do have the ability and the expertise in-house with some of our staff at the golf course to actually do that grading, do that reseeding, with some supplemental contractual services. But we're fortunate to have people that actually understand that construction and can do that in-house. So we're asking for $125,000 in the first year for that project. Questions? The next project is a bridge improvements project, which will address in the first year about $115,000 for both design, primarily design services to tee the town up for, excuse the pun, for funding in the later years for construction. Some of our bridges require deck and rail replacement, painting, masonry repointing, and this project will address some of those deficiencies that we have out there right now. We're also hoping in the out years to offset some of those costs with local bridge funding, but we do need to do a little more investigation and design to get to a point where we'd be eligible for those particular programs. So again, the $115,000 in the first year, primarily design services, but there may be some minor construction services that aren't reflected in our budget. We might shift some of those expenses into construction, if they're, albeit small. And there's some specific projects mentioned here, but there may be others that come up in the course of investigation that we may want to add to this list as funds allow. Generally, our bridge system is in pretty good condition, considering a lot of our bridges are small. We don't have a lot of large bridges like some towns do, predominantly because of state roads in town that serve a great volume of our traffic as major arteries. The next project is the Highway Pavement Management Program. Over the last few years, we've been pretty successful in making some good investments in our road through an analytical process, a very well-planned process where we rate our roads and determine what the best and most economical way of approaching the repairs are. And in some cases, that's to improve the good roads first and do the roads that are not in good condition at a later date, because of the dollar spent today can cost you $4 or $5 down the road. So Tom Roy has been doing a great job on that. To me, the road system is in very good condition, but this project hopes to improve that even more through a reasonable investment of about $1.2 million annually. We're asking for 2.5 in the first year, and again, every other year, another 2.5 million to give us a little more flexibility on spending dollars year to year. But this project will maintain the roadway network in a reasonably high condition, but not the best condition. And again, it's based on a fairly detailed inspection and costing of what it would cost to maintain that network to a reasonable level.
Have you noted that this winter was particularly hard on the town roads?
I can't say, I haven't been around the system enough, to be honest with you. I've been kind of stuck in the office with the weather, so I really wouldn't be able to judge that. I'm not hearing that from you know,
Some
from
of
other
the
people.
roads I travel, and not necessarily in Simsbury, where they're potholed all over the place.
Yeah, I think, again, generally, I think Simsbury's done a pretty good job in terms of doing the
Farmington
appropriate
Avenue is
treatment.
like a rumble system.
It was just so cold for so long, you know?
Yeah.
Good questions. The next project is the technology infrastructure project. This is a project where several different technology upgrades were aggregated into one project, serving various departments. And the projects include things such as the fiber optics network that the town relies on for day-to-day business, extending that build-out to include all town buildings, including the Public Works Department. It also includes network storage and recovery upgrades, both on the town side and on the police side. Network server replacement at the town offices, Public Works, and Simsbury Farm in Edom. And also some public safety equipment support items, such as mobile data terminals, cruiser cameras, tasers for the officers. At the library, there's a print and copy management system to make it more efficient for printing for the staff over there. And we've also included some dollars for consulting services that may be required to implement some of these measures. And also GIS web development town-wide that's been in development for about 10 years, and we're hoping to accelerate that development as part of this project.
So that, if this goes through, then in a year, we would have GIS mapping?
We do have GIS mapping now, it's not public. We have built and incorporated a lot of data in it, including drainage, zoning, wetlands, pavement management. So it's just not a complete system right now, we're still building it, but there's been a lot of investment in it over the last 10 years. We want to make sure it's right before we release it to the public, and hopefully we can get there with this additional investment.
What do you think the rollout time for that is? Like over the next year, is it gonna take 2 years from the time you really start?
We've actually just started meeting with various stakeholders internally, and we really haven't got to that point yet, so I wouldn't want to make a commitment. But I would say probably 1 to 2 years. So this project, again, has a lot going for it. A lot of it was driven by the computer data systems, fiber optics network. But again, we've added some other things too that we felt were also important.
On the fiber optic network, I have a question here. If we're gonna build out to all these buildings fiber optically, what's the maintenance for that on the backside? Pole gets hit, cables go down. Are we subcontracting to one of the providers in town or hanging our own? What's the plan there?
You know, that's a question I can't answer. This project is really being driven by IT. I don't know what the operational and maintenance costs are. So I wouldn't want to even take a shot at that and misinterpret the requirements there. Certainly can get you that information if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Excellent. Any other questions on technology? The next project is the alternative energy efficiency projects. This project includes several components, as did the technology project, including the investigation of solar PV energy installation on town buildings. This particular scope included in this project would include hiring a consultant to help us determine where the most efficient locations and the best opportunities are for solar PV, to assist us with the RFP process to hire a installer, and also to guide us through the selection and negotiation process, so that we're purchasing a sound system from a reputable firm, and hopefully resulting in savings to the town. At this time, we can't quantify those savings, but certainly through the efforts of other municipalities, we think they'd be significant over time on the utility side.
Are the consultants going to put out the expected payback period on that and the savings?
Again, we don't have that data. We expect it to be significant. We think there's some very good opportunities on town buildings, but cannot quantify that at the present time for you. Also,
Is wind on our radar screen as well, or just solar?
I think primarily we're going to look at solar on this project as it was conceived. Again, this was something that Tom Roy put together before my time, so I believe some of the energy efficiency studies have been done for town buildings, and they've looked at other opportunities for energy savings. They did, for whatever reason, they haven't moved those or advanced those, possibly because the cost benefit isn't there in terms of the investment.
We looked at wind on Public Building Committee a couple of years ago, and there wasn't enough movement for it to actually pay off for the town. You could have small units here and there, but there wasn't like wholesale wind coming through that we could really harness at that point.
The other portions of this project are the Eno Memorial Library HVAC building management system upgrade, which essentially the system over there is very old, archaic, and not very efficient. Essentially, we put in typical, computerized controls that could be managed remotely, variable valve devices, just to make it as efficient as we can in the older building. We think there'd be payback on that, and don't have numbers on payback, but certainly think it's a good, worthwhile project.
Is that both for Eno and the public library?
The public library, there's a small component in the original design. There was a particular area of the building that isn't functioning properly, and again, there's basically a valve replacement. It's a fairly small expense, about $5,000, but we included it in this project because we felt it fit pretty well. So primarily the expenses on Eno.
So on the Eno side, are you gonna wait to find out whether they're doing the senior center there or moving it before you actually get moving on plans for this?
We did ask that question asked to us and looked at that, and it's really very expandable, these systems that you buy today, so, and because they're computerized, they're very flexible. So what we did, would not have to be taken out or retrofitted if in addition for the senior center actually moved forward. So it wouldn't, it's something we did discuss, but felt it was, we weren't gonna be spending good money after bad, so to speak.
Right, because not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but one of the plans for Eno is that they would move the room where all of those physical services are for the building, so that would all need to be incorporated into the cost as well. So just, make sure that all gets taken care of in proper order.
Yeah, the controls could be located in a portion of the building that were not to be disturbed with that plan.
Okay.
Again, we did look at that and take that into consideration. So we think it can be accommodated in other spaces. Third part of that project is the highway gas conversion project. We're in the process of bringing natural gas downtown Forest Road. We're working with the DEP to try to do a land swap for the sole purpose of being able to bring utility services down there and also serve the Tooten Hill School. This project would allow us to, this gas conversion would allow us to change out the heaters in the garages that are obsolete and put in new heaters that are very efficient, reduced energy costs over the highway garage. So this project essentially pays for the retrofit in the buildings for these new heaters. The gas service project is a separate project that complements this.
And it's expected to happen in fiscal year 15?
We're hoping, yeah, we're pretty far along in the planning process. The gas company's ready to start. We just don't have our our rights in place right now. We're working with DEP on that.
Is there gas on, was it Stratton Brook?
There is,
Yeah.
there is. But
Have we do
because
Fox Den at the same time?
No, it's a new road there.
Please.
Fox Den, is that your?
Switch houses.
Can't really
Ignore
talk
that
about gas
remark.
I just
prices.
put in a
That
new
wasn't-
propane furnace, it's a gas furnace converted to propane to convert back as soon as you take care of it.
Okay, well, I
Thanks,
wish I had
Jeff.
gas on my street, I'll tell you, it'd be
And
wonderful.
we have houses with electric heat on our street, plus everybody from Mr. Balboni, who never speaks what's on his mind, he's got an old burner, so we're ready for the gas company.
Not necessary.
I agree. And the last piece of this is just some solar control devices at the library and town hall, which is basically shading. And keep in mind, when we looked at these requests, they came in from various departments. And as part of a sort of a ad hoc group, we kind of try to aggregate these into some sensible projects as opposed to having a lot of small projects. We put them into a larger project that we thought made sense. So we're asking for $103,000 in the first year to cover these costs. The Planning and engineering is for both controls and the solar project. And we have some construction costs for the highway garage, equipment for the library, and some bonding costs in there also for $103,000 total request. Questions? Okay, the next project is the Longview Pump Station SCADA control and pump upgrade. SCADA is Supervised Control and Data Acquisition Systems, that's what it stands for. This pump station, we're also in the process right now of putting the Public Works complex on sewer. It's presently on septic. We've run a force main between the town garage and this pump station, at least partially. As part of this project, we'll upgrade the controls, the telemetry, so we can monitor the station properly, and also upgrade the pumps to accommodate the additional capacity of some additional homes on Longview Drive, and also the town garage. This project is $65,000. It'd be paid for out of the sewer use fund, so it's technically not coming out of the budget, but we are required to include it in the capital improvement program. The next project is also being funded out of sewer use fund, sewer main extensions project. This project essentially provides funding of $156,000 in the first year for various sewer extensions that are generated by requests from the homeowners. And ultimately, this cost is assessed to the individual property owner, so it's recovered in full, put back into the revolving sewer use fund. So there's several projects in some stage of development: Buttonwood Drive, Longview Drive, which I spoke about, Musket Trail, Flintlock Ridge, Hawks Lane. And we're estimating about 45 additional properties would be served by this particular project. The last project in the first year is again another sewer use funded project. When the treatment plant was originally designed, it had a combination of grinders and screening units to sort of process the influent into the plant that have been maintenance headache of late, become clogged, are very difficult to maintain, and even more difficult to remove. This project would replace those units with a more simplistic system, I would call it, a mechanical bar screen unit. That would be much easier to maintain, reduce problems with the plant and with things getting through into the plant. And this work would actually be done substantially with in-house staff down at the plant, with some support from contractual services for the electrical work. And there's actually 2 units down there, they're looking to do one in each of the next 2 years, at $260,000 apiece. And again, this is paid out of the sewer use fund. And that's all the projects on the town side in the first year. If there's any questions on any of the other projects that we didn't touch on in the future years, I'd be glad to do that.
Questions, Commissioner? You mentioned earlier dredging the pond at Simsbury Farms. Off the subject, has anyone ever considered dredging this thing where Iron Horse, when you start off, you come out Owens Brook, that swamp, mosquito area with trees, is that something that ought to be dredged and made attractive as part of the?
I've heard a little discussion about that area.
I thought that was private property.
I'm not sure who the ownership is.
The charrette talked about that, didn't they, Harv?
It's such a, I mean, everybody goes down Iron Horse, goes around the bike path there, but it looks like a swamp primeval, you know, or something.
That's a beautiful wetland.
I think it's,
We're protecting
I
it.
think it's part of the old canal.
It's off the subject, well, I don't want to keep going, I just.
There's been discussion on
The
it.
word dredging came up and I thought,
I can't imagine they would want to go dredge that, to be honest with you. But anyhow, there's been discussion, but no solutions to that problem.
yeah.
That's it.
And the discussion?
Yeah, any comments? Any more questions? It's proper to do a motion?
What I would recommend, Mr. Chairman, is the following, that these be included in the minutes if it's appropriate to whoever makes the motion, that there was a handout as part of your package, that,
All the resolutions?
correct.
Oh,
Just-
Is that email?
Pardon?
Yeah, it's here.
From Tom Cook, Director of Administrative Services, dated April 17th, 2014, with a copy of the First Selectman. It includes schedule for the referendum, approval of the resolutions for the capital projects, for all the projects that the town engineer just mentioned. My suggestion is that you indicate in the motion that the commission has reviewed pages 1 through 20 of this handout. It's been thoroughly reviewed, and you may say hereby approved by the commission if that's your choice. But I just recommend that that word be clearly part of your motion, rather than read through the 20 pages. I don't think you want to do that.
Can we read all this? I guess that's.
Okay.
Make a motion?
Yep.
Also indicate
Did
too that,
did this go to the other email? Is that why I didn't get it?
I don't know, I thought we straightened that out, to be honest with you, I will double check that. But the other thing too, I just, probably be just clear for the record, because Burke is no longer here, but that the motion also includes the capital projects for the Board of Ed projects.
Yeah.
Okay, are those in the resolutions as well?
I believe they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Okay. So it's part of the 20 pages?
Correct.
All right, then I'd like to make a motion to give a positive referral to the fiscal year 2015 capital improvement plan as detailed in the resolutions in a letter from Thomas F. Cook to Carolyn Kiley, Town Clerk, and others, referencing Board of Selectmen actions on the CIP and budget, pages 1 through 20, including both the town capital improvement programs and the Board of Education capital improvement programs.
Want to mention the date of the memo, April
Yeah.
17th?
The memo is dated April 17th, 2014.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, after reviewing the motions, I agree with them. I think they're good motions. I think it's good projects right now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Don't have the right font.
I know. I
It's
saw that.
it's on the screen, but in front of- Okay. Second item on the agenda
Photoshop, though, right?
is the,
Oh, no, they're real. I don't know. Upside down.
the application of, from the zoning commission on from Michael Wallace Parks and Rec for the installation of a scoreboard on the property located 100 Old Farms Road. How many?
Only if they have questions. I don't know what information they can
If you
give.
could go up,
Okay.
thing and introduce yourself,
Certainly.
that way you can get famous on the camera. Thank you.
My name's already famous. So I'm Michael Wallace, and I am a living Michael Wallace, not the one that is deceased. So basically, we have had some scoreboards that were donated to our golf pro. They are 4 foot wide by 5 foot high. And what we're doing, we're looking to install them up next to the clubhouse on the northern side, which is the side towards the tent. And the existing scoreboards that we do have are fastened to the building, and when it rains, you can't even stand there, because the roof just sheds all the water all over them. These would be standalone, and they have a small roof on them. It's a little 6-foot roof, flat, similar to what you have down here at the Arts Center with a curved front. So I think it'd be a tremendous enhancement for our facility. And so we're looking to install those. The steel was all donated also. So basically, the expenditure for the town is around $500. We've had $1,700 worth of materials donated.
How big is it?
It would be 3 sections, 4 foot wide, so there would be 12 foot. But the center section is 4 foot, then it's hinged, and so what happens is they come out at a 45, the other 2 4-foot sections. And then it has 2 sections that can be opened out beyond that if they need them. So it can be a total of, 2 sets of scoreboards, 8 foot wide each. And then the center section is for notes, and it's a message board that can be used daily.
So they're actually hinged?
Yes, they're hinged. There's 2 are fixed to the center one. And then there's the 2 more are hinged that they can open out. So depending on the size of the tournament, he can either use 2 of them, or all 4 of them, or 3 of them. So we have many smaller tournaments where we don't need them all, but we have some where we need them all.
And when not in use, you just
We
close
just
them all
close
up?
them up. So,
Are they hinged so you can close them to prevent vandalism?
Yes.
Can they be locked?
we can put a lock on them, that's easy enough.
I'm not suggesting that that's a condition of our approval, but
No, they could easily,
Sounds like a
they
good
could
idea.
easily put a hasp on them. I mean, they're steel framed, so I mean, it's not a problem. We can always weld the hasp on here easy enough and put locks on it. So, yes,
and it's permanent structure.
yes.
Any questions?
I would assume that you put the Simsbury Farms right side up, instead of like they came out of the picture upside down. Is that superimposed there? or-
No, see, what the problem was that those frames are built to be set in concrete.
Yep, and you turn them over.
And yeah, so I mean, in order to make the picture, I had to turn them over to put them together.
I thought it was kind of cute when I saw them.
Because I'm looking at them saying, okay, hold on, you know, I mean, these things are, you know, set to go in the ground 4 feet, and those posts are 2 by 2, you know, steel. They're not light, so.
Right.
And these are new? The
Yes,
sign is new?
yeah.
Somebody donated a new sign?
Yeah. John gets, every now and then, when he does outings and stuff, people will donate money towards things, and this is what he you know, decided to
It's nice.
go forward with. So, because he thought it'd be a tremendous enhancement for the facility.
It's good.
Any other comments?
So we rely on the zoning commission to make sure it complies with any signage regulations.
Yeah, sure, that's correct, Bill. My suggestion on this one, should you decide to go forward, is that, based upon the fact that this is an A24 referral, that you find that there's no conflict with the plan of conservation and development. Other than that, I think you find it acceptable that that's what you decide.
I actually think it's in the spirit of the plan of conservation and development under the community facilities and recreation section. We're trying to enhance the users' experience at our town-owned facilities.
Replacing a bad sign with a good one.
Copper, you know, as Jerry Toner said at EDC meeting last week or week before, it's, you know, of course, is trying to bring in outside people, which helps us pay the bills. So this is, obviously, those tournaments are, they're like wedding for a restaurant, you know, it's money in the coffers, so it's got to be technologically with the time, so, anyway. Any other comments or questions? Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept application 14-18 from the zoning commission for the signage at the Simsbury Park and Recreations Culture Facility, the golf signs. Do we make a positive referral for that?
Second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sure.
Discussion of the Prague Regional Plan.
I don't really have anything additional to tell you. I've been forwarding emails periodically from the CROG on this. I think that they had another question or two that I think I just forwarded yesterday or the day before. They've extended the period for responding to those questions slightly. If you have any comments that are part of those emails or any questions on it or whatever, feel free to let me know. If you think that we should comment on it, or go to the meeting and comment on it, or submit something in writing, I'm happy to do that in concert with whatever your comments might be. I asked the zoning commission the same thing, but primarily it's a planning function. It's the primary function of this commission is to comment on those. The Capital Region is an active one in terms of preparing these plans and making sure that they're up to date. As you can see, their sort of theme here is vibrant, green, connected, and competitive. I think it sort of covers all the things that, actually, Bob, it covers a lot of things we were talking about in the last meeting.
Yes.
You know, interesting. But those are the kinds of things that they're looking into. They're very big into the knowledge corridor. The CROG has been very helpful to us on many of the projects that we've conducted, the Route 10 corridor study. They've been very active in participating with us in some of the other studies that we've done as well. And I think the conservation plan of conservation and development from CROG reflects their active involvement in all the communities. So if you had a chance to take a look at it the next week or so, please do. And let me know if you have any other comments on it, rather than sort of go through the document at this point.
Hiram, I'd like to apologize to the commission and to you. I forgot to attend the CROG Regional Planning meeting last Thursday.
You're fired.
Okay, I'll take the cut and pay. I don't know if Mark attended or not.
He
Mark?
probably didn't, and he's not here to admit it, so. I don't know. Yeah, I did not hear from him on that, but that's fine. I'll catch up with Emily and Mary Ellen about if there's anything that we need to hear that was presented, so happy. I'll convey that to you as quickly as I can.
That was a special meeting that they called.
Yeah, it was, and I think it was to talk primarily about the plan.
Yes.
The next meeting's on the 15th, and I was gonna talk to Kevin. I have a meeting I would not like to cut that night, so I'm gonna try and switch with Kevin Prell, and then see if I can follow through, and then go take his thing with Kulikowski afterwards, so we'll see what happens, but he's not here, so I can't.
That's May 15th?
May 15th,
Yes.
correct.
It's supposed to be you and me, and I'm gonna try and see if Kevin can call you to remind you and you do it. so.
I had scratched out, actually, I had Mark D. there and Bill for that meeting.
That's it. Yeah, I had committed to going to the May one.
Yeah.
And then the April one was a special, which I said I would go to, which I will go to the May.
Okay. And I'll call Kevin. Hiram, anything else on your list?
No, not really, just to let you know that we finished, about 3 weeks ago, we finished the new code for the Hartford property. We're waiting for the Hartford to get back to us and tell us that they're okay with it or not. Wait for their comments. We're ready to move it to public hearing for adoption. And so as soon as we hear back from them that they're satisfied, we're ready to go. Like I said, they've had about 3 weeks. So we're anxious to move that forward. If they're in a hurry to do that, we'd like to do that.
And that's on the town website? Or-
Believe it is, but if it's not, I'll check tomorrow morning and make sure it is. It's no different than the one I think I handed
The
out
draft,
before.
there was a
Yeah.
draft posted at one time.
There's some minor, period here, sentence there, but very minor stuff. I'll make sure that gets posted very soon.
Thank you.
Yeah, certainly well in advance of any time it comes here. I was just hesitating to do that until the Hartford said they were okay with it. That was my only holdup.
Mhm.
The only other thing I have is that people consistently ask about the Big Y and the status of the Big Y. And I do have their most recent plans on my desk. I reviewed them, they look good. I've turned them over to the town engineer, he's looking at them now. I suspect by the end of this week, they'll be all ready to move to the building department for permitting, should they decide to do that. So it's still alive and well, the project is still ready to move forward as far as I know.
What's going on with the gas station across the street?
That was, those two stations, Valero Station at 518 Hot Meadow and 1340, I believe, Hot Meadow, were both purchased by Pride. And Pride is a gas station convenience store. Both of those structures will actually be completely renovated. New structures will be put down on either of those sites. The Zoning Commission and Design Review just recently approved them at their last meeting, I believe. Yeah, on Monday night. I can't remember what night it is. And so that'll move forward. I think the structure is about 44 by 46 feet, not a terribly large structure, but a convenience store, gas station.
So the one across from the Big Y, and then the one next to the Big Sky?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And that's some excavation that's already started there, and even though this was just approved last night by the zoning commission, they got a little bit ahead of themselves with the excavator on the one at the south end here. So we talked to them about that, and that's stopped until they get that. A couple of things they had to get squared away with DOT. The retaining wall around the back of that one by Big Sky is important. And there was also some comment about from the neighbors, just behind the one in Big Sky, the residential neighbors saying, we want to make sure that that privacy fence is still there. And the zoning commission and design review also made sure that no trespass, no full cutoff lighting fixtures underneath the canopy, so that there shouldn't be any spillage of light onto the residential properties that are behind that. So between the privacy fence and the full cutoff fixtures, should be adequately protected, and landscaping as well, should be adequately protected from the residences in the area.
Are they digging up their tanks?
Yes, yeah, and also just to let you know too, that the station in the north end, one Bill asked about, is in an aqua protection area. And so what they did was they agreed to, in concert, we talked to DEP about this, and because it's a mapped aquifer protection area, they agreed to put triple protection in. So they have triple wall tanks, triple wall tubing, and DEP, even though they're not required to, is in agreement with the fact that they put those things in as well, and they agreed to do that, no problem. So that's what those are, so upgrades anyway. The issue, there was a little issue with regard to the signage. They had proposed a signage that met the size and location requirements, but the signs were internally lit. The existing signs on the site are internally lit, but these were gonna be new signs that moved to a new location, and not just simply internally lit, but also by LED with the lighting that would change, you know, based on the price of the fuel. The commission talked about that a bit and said that even though they may have a vested right to an internally lit sign for that site, they didn't think that that extended fully to a new LED sign. Because what I could see is that every single station in town is gonna come in and say, we want an LED sign. So the way the decision was read is that that part of that application is not approved. They can put a regularly internally lit sign there, just the way they have it now if they want to, because they have a vested right to do that. If they want to do anything different, they need to come back through design review and zoning commission will consider it, but they did not approve that, so it shouldn't pop up. So we're hopeful that they'll listen to what was approved. I think that's enough.
Previous meeting went well, looked like good turnout.
Yeah, it's an interesting group. It's an economic development task force, as you know, has a life of about 2 years. Bob sits on it, and hopefully will offer comments to the board whenever necessary. At this point in time, I think it's this third meeting, or third or fourth meeting?
Third
Third
and we're
meeting.
still kind of,
Kind of figure out exactly
Where to
what
go.
the basic idea is, and then eventually in the next 2 meetings, we'll talk about housing at the next meeting. And meetings are all open to the public in case you want to come and sit there. And then the meeting after that, decide on tasks to divide up into small groups, putting together specific segments of marketing plans and action plans moving forward. So that's kind of where it is. So, animated discussion, though. I thought.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, it's a big group and people are very into it, so opinions all over. the
yeah,
place.
it's a very good group of people there, a lot of talent there. It'll be good for the town.
Good. All right, thank you very much. Mark's not here. Alan, you want to do minutes?
Sure. Okay, page 1. Anybody have any corrections or additions to page 1?
I've had attendance noted on my records that Mark Drake was in attendance at that meeting.
It says so down below.
Oh,
It said he arrived 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It was a little bit late.
I agree with that.
You just want to affirm that,
Yeah.
is that it? Okay.
I believe Newbury is spelled Newbury. So any occurrence of the original spelling, if you can change that, Janice.
Single R.
Yeah,
Yep.
Bury.
Okay.
That page 1.
Okay.
Page 2. There's Newbury again. Anything? Oh, page 3.
Yeah, 92, I think Sue's last name is misspelled there. I'm not gonna take a guess on the right spelling, but I know there's something missing.
Yeah, I think a C.
It's Bednarzik, as far as I know, so
Yeah.
there's something missing there.
Yeah, CYK at the end instead of YCK. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yep, very good.
And her address is 119 East Weetog Street.
Anything else, page 3?
Instead of Heather Lane.
Yeah.
Page 4?
On, under, in the middle of the page, Jensen rejoined the meeting, B, a representative, I think that was, I don't know if it should say that was TJ Donahue,
Yeah.
instead of a representative.
Page 5? Page 6. Page 7.
Move to accept the minutes as amended.
Second?
Discussion? Somebody second?
Did somebody second?
Nope.
Second. I'll do it.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Ron's sitting in the right seat. Ron, do you have a motion?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You know,
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.